Welcome back to the All Things Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Julian. I'm here with my co-producer, co-host, Small Town EP, and I'm here with the hometown boy, Kev, cameraman of the pod, friend of the pod. Shout out to at Raven Productions. Is it Raven? Is it Raven? I didn't get it.
Raven.
Okay.
No,
all right. I got it right
yeah.
the first time. Bet. So shout out to you guys over there, Rachel and Kev. Obviously, you guys are probably familiar with their work if you've watched All Things Sports Podcast. Before we became a live YouTube show, we were shooting it at the spot in Florida, and Kev and Rachel, before they became Raven Media, they were doing their thing. They've now opened their content creation company, media creation company, and I'm excited to see what they're gonna make of this, I should say. So shout out to y'all for that first and foremost. Second of all, how you doing? How's everything been? It's been a minute since you've been on the show.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been a while. But everything's good. Just being busy. Appreciate the plug also. But yeah, everything's been good. Just staying busy and happy to be back on, and especially it's an exciting time for me, but we'll save that for a little bit later.
Everything is definitely good in someone's life when they just giggling the whole time.
You see it, right? It's like
everything's good. I want to say more, but I got some NDAs I can't release or I can't.
We started a company. I'm drinking beer. The Jets are looking good. We'll get there. Man. We'll get there. But it's an exciting time in general with March Madness. We're at Sweet 16 finally. I feel like this tournament's kind of gone pretty fast. And for a lot of teams, Virginia, Duke, Arizona, it just went too fast, right? You got teams like Princeton, teams like FAU trying to get to the Elite Eight for the first time in their school's history. Princeton trying to be the first Ivy League school getting to an Elite Eight ever. Shout out to the Miami women's basketball team, because I know that they're trying to make an Elite Eight run right now. They just came off a win versus Indiana. Kev, who did they beat in the first two games?
Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State, then Indiana. So, and they play tomorrow.
They won both those games by a total of 3 points, though. So a couple nail biters.
And who do they got tomorrow? If we can confirm their
tomorrow
opponent
is Villanova, I believe.
2:30 game versus Villanova. Nice. Yes, sir. Yo, before we just jump right in, how you been? How you doing? I'm sorry, I kind of skipped over you. I was raving over the Raven Media, if you will.
Bars. Nah, I'm good, bro. I can't complain, man. I mean, you kind of you tapped in with me and what kind of goes on around me. I would say almost on a daily basis. I would say that you have some sort of conversation. So yeah, man.
No. Go ahead.
No, yeah, I was gonna say I'm good. I'm great.
Awesome. Because you're right, I do. And if it's not in the Locksmith chat, shout out to the Locksmith chat. Shout out to those who help me provide content for my IG story on a 2 to 3 day out of the week base. I don't disclose names or anything like that. If you're in the chat, you know. If you know, you know. But if you follow me on IG and you see some funny posts, some crazy shit, it's never me. Notice that. It's never me saying some shit. I'm just a messenger.
The bubble's never on the right side.
But just know that content, it gets me laughs, it gets me the right kikis and hee-hees, if you will, in the DM. So shout out to y'all boys for that. Let's get back into it though. Sweet 16 on the women's end. I think we're just going to be all rooting for the Miami Hurricanes. On the ATS family side, it's kind of them versus the world. Well, I was speaking for the women.
Oh, yeah.
Fair?
Yeah.
Okay, fair. Okay, on the men's side of things, definitely it's a couple teams that I'm excited for. I would love to see the Hurricanes go, as far as Final Four, national championship if they can. Coach L's trying to go back-to-back Elite Eight appearances. But that Princeton team, man, they upset Arizona. Am I right? They're the ones who beat Arizona. I think FDU beat Virginia and Princeton beat Arizona. And then they played last Saturday, and they took care of business kind of all game. They had a lead. And it looks like, all right, they look like they kind of belong here right now. Like, I'm not going to lie. So Princeton's got a big game here. Go ahead.
Winnable game too against Creighton.
Creighton, and don't get me wrong, Creighton as a 6 seed, you know, I'm gonna give them their credit. They had a good season, and they deserve to be here, just like all the rest of the Sweet 16 teams. But to your words, winnable game right here. If you look at the outlook of things, and you see, all right, I mean, granted, they're gonna have to play, if they win, the winner of San Diego State or Alabama, which we probably assume Alabama. And hey, the buck might stop right there if we're being honest. But if they get to the Elite Eight, I mean, what a Cinderella run it's been. If they find a way, maybe if SDSU upset versus Alabama, and then Princeton finds their way versus them, like, you never know. If Princeton finds their way in this Final Four, man, that'd be a sight to see.
I think out of every year, I mean, as long as I've been watching college basketball, this is the year that it feels like if there is going to be that Cinderella team to get to the Final Four and have a realistic chance to win it, it's this year, because it just doesn't seem like there's that one dominant team this year.
Yeah.
Like in the past years that we've had. But I do think Alabama is the best team in the tournament.
Ooh.
You know what?
I like that take. I like that take a lot. You can't argue against it, really. Like,
I was just gonna say that I can't argue that. Nope. Because I thought it would be Kansas and E. We spoke about this last week, and unfortunately, Bill Self was still, in the hospital with complications. I think it was. I'm not sure. I don't want to just speculate, or I don't remember exactly what it was, so I don't want to just say. But he had some health condition, kept him in the hospital for the second game. Obviously, I'm in New York City, so walking around, you see a bunch of shit every day. Kev, you can attest to seeing my story today. There was like a truckload of apples that fell in the middle of the street, and a bunch of pedestrians just picking them up. And hey, I mean, free apples is free apples. Like, get your fucking nutrients in. But it's just something to see. However, Saturday I was going to the bar to catch the ending of the Duke game versus Tennessee, which we sold. I left the house too late. The train took too long to come, and I missed the rest of the game, which I'm probably glad I didn't get to watch my team lose. I got to see it on the ESPN app as updates. But before the Kansas-Arkansas game started, I ran into a Kansas fan, and he had a Kansas jersey on, and he was on the corner. He looked like he was going to a bar to watch the game. So I was like, "Yo, good luck today, man. Duke lost." He's like, "I know." I was like, let me ask you something. You're a Kansas fan. I wanted to hear it from you. Do you think if you guys win today, because you probably will, I said you probably will, but if you guys win today, do you guys think you can continue to win if Coach Self remains out? Like, do you think that's something to keep an eye on? He was like, man, to be honest, I think we're a better team without him sometimes. And I was like, I was a little taken back. Like, that's a big statement. Coach Self is one of the best coaches in college basketball history and one of the best coaches right now. But he made a fair point where early in the season, Coach Self wasn't around and they were winning games. I think they went 4-1 is what he said. So, hey, I'm not going to argue that, but it's a tournament, pressure. It's a lot that goes down. And that same day, a few hours later, we saw them take a L to our Kansas, not their Kansas.
I was gonna say that whole 4-1 at the beginning of the season. Those are non-conference games. I hear you.
Exactly.
But those are games you're supposed to win, buddy. That's practice, as they say.
Those are like preseason games.
That's true. And hey, like I said, I'm not the Kansas fan. I was asking. I wanted to hear it from the horse's mouth, and that's what he said. So I was like, all right, well, guess who I was thinking of at the end of that Arkansas-Kansas game? The fan that I saw on the corner of 23rd and what was it? 5th Avenue or whatever the hell it was.
Oh, man.
7th Avenue, I think, because we was on the same avenue where Madison Square is on. I was actually at the same bar that they do, so basically the Rangers – that's right by MSG. So the Rangers had a game, and before all Rangers games, I guess that's where all the fans kind of meet up and drink. So it was dope. I'm like, I walk in there, I see everybody in Rangers jerseys. I'm like, oh shit, they're about to put is the Rangers? It's early. It's like 5 o'clock. I'm like, Rangers about to play at 5 o'clock. Like, why is everybody here? I go upstairs, I'm drinking and shit. Everybody got their jersey on, kind of talking. Then I start talking with this guy and his wife, and this other Rangers fan comes up and he's like, "Oh, where you sitting tonight?" And I'm like, "Oh, these motherfuckers going to the game. Shit." Now I feel kind of left out. I'm like, "Damn." I was like, "Oh, I thought we was all gonna watch the game here." Fuck. Well, I guess I'll just. Game. Yeah, it was the Penguins game.
Yeah.
They beat them 6-0. Then they won 7-0 the next night. So shout out to the Rangers. That's why when E sent in the chat the under today for that Rangers game, I was a little weary. You playing with your money tonight, or what you doing?
Nah, that was easy.
Goals.
That was easy. That was good money right there.
I should have put that parlay. I wanted to put 100 on it. I'm not going to lie, but I was not. It was 5.5. E, can you confirm that would have cashed or not?
It did. It was 2-1. The Rangers won 2-1 today. So
you liked the message. I didn't feel confident betting it. I was like, he didn't say yes or no. I don't fucking know. What's up, Kev? My bad.
No, you're good. So I was just looking at Kansas's schedule, and while they did beat Duke in the third, so Self was suspended for the first 4 games of the year. They did beat Duke, but obviously we can say this is probably a down year for Duke. This is not like the normal Duke, who is usually a 1 or 2 seed in the tournament. So they did have that win. They beat them by 5, but their other 3 games were Omaha, North Dakota State, and Southern Utah. So I don't put much stock into their start.
It was like the championship classic or whatever.
It was exactly. It was the classic. And Duke had a very, very slow and bad start to the season. We really kind of picked it up at the end and earned a 5 seed. You know what I'm saying? Like
that was
Duke
a 5-point win
against
Duke. That was a 5-point win against Duke too. So it wasn't even like a dominant performance for Kansas, without Bill Self. And I would imagine,
I'll say it one more time.
Bill Self,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I would imagine Bill Self, when you lose by 1 point, having Bill Self makes up that difference.
Probably. I was just gonna say, another shout out to Coach Shire, man, for what he did in Durham and what he was able to do with Duke. Because, we used to watch Coach Shire, man. We used to watch him hit threes in the corner, and it's funny. Like I have a childhood friend who we don't really keep in contact anymore, but we were like the best of friends growing up, and he's one of the reasons I really like Duke. He put me on to college basketball and everything, and we used to play out front of his crib, and it was like he's like Shire. He would be Shire. He was Shire. I'm like, yo, that's lit. So. Shout out to Shire, man. He's got a bright future ahead of him as a coach with this program here, and we're gonna continue to recruit great. So I'm not worried. I'll take we lost before the Sweet 16, but it is what it is. I mean, it was a good tournament. He's got a tournament win under his belt in his first year coming in as a 5 seed. So
North
I'm gonna give him
this respect. You know what I'm saying? Undefeated at home. There's a lot of successes to be celebrated with this Duke team this year. Absolutely.
And they got to the ACC championship game.
ACC champions? How did I forget the ACC champions part? Come on, man.
Hey, can't win them all, right? There you go. But I wanted to talk about this Sweet 16. Let's see what you guys think is going to be this Final Four. I want to get like some Final Four guesstimations here. So just to run down, it's going to be Houston, Miami, Xavier, Texas, Arkansas, UConn, Gonzaga, UCLA. We've got Kansas State beat Michigan State today. They're moving on. FAU and Tennessee are playing right now. Tennessee probably moves on, if we're being honest.
Moves on.
Creighton, Princeton.
Ooh.
Alabama, San Diego State.
And you got Gonzaga, what do you guys UCLA. See? Don't forget Gonzaga, UCLA that's playing right now too.
They're playing now as well. Okay, cool. I didn't know they were playing right now. So what do you guys see as a Final Four? If I can give my Final Four prediction right now, I'm going to go K-State, Alabama, Texas, UCLA.
Kev, I'm gonna let you go first.
That's exactly where I was.
Yeah,
I was gonna say exactly. Yeah. That was gonna be my 4: Bama, Kansas State, Texas, and UCLA.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Key E, what you got? I said Key.
You said
That's me picking. That's me picking like without my heart though, because if I'm picking with my heart,
No, fair.
Miami's
Yeah, of
winning the
course.
thing.
I want Miami. Yeah, Miami's getting in there, but we got to
Miami,
also
FAU
kind
national
of be
championship
realistic.
Yeah, I'm
You
saying.
imagine? Yo, would you imagine?
Yeah, Bama.
You know what's
Houston.
crazy? Nobody would
Go
care.
ahead, Caleb.
Nobody would care down here. I don't think. I don't think anybody would really pay attention.
I don't know, bro. I don't know. I think that's a pretty fire fucking national championship, dog.
Well, okay, maybe here everybody would pay attention, but I feel like nationally, nobody would give a fuck.
Fair. What you got, E?
Bama, K-State, Texas, UCLA.
So we're all on the same. We're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
Right.
I think Texas poses the biggest threat to Alabama. I think outside of Texas, Alabama probably wins the national championship this year.
Yeah, I mean Texas Alabama is gonna be a good one. It probably ends up Texas Alabama. That's kind of where I see it, but not sure. We got Ray in the chat. Shout out to Ray. If you know, you know. Ray Cam TV. He's a friend of the show. He's also in that locksmith chat. He says UConn is moving on too. So he's got UConn going to the Elite Eight. I'll be excited to see. Where they can take it. I mean, they had a good season, and yeah, I can't argue that. So
I got
Shout out
UCLA
to
on
them
the ticket
boys,
tonight, beating Gonzaga, just for the record.
what don't you got on the ticket, E? How about that one? Is that a tougher question?
Not the goddamn Knicks tonight, I can say that.
Hey, Kev, didn't it feel good? I think the Knicks had like 8 straight wins against the Heat. Jimmy Butler had Dwayne Wade in the house. We had Unwell in the house.
It couldn't have been 8 straight against us.
Here we go.
I don't think it couldn't have been. There's no way. Because
I
when's the last
could
time
be-
they haven't swept us? When they beat us last time, they got 8 straight just this season. That was like
Oh, you're
win when they
right.
beat us last time.
You're right. So how many games straight was it that they beat us? I mean, it was at least 3 games straight.
Yeah, I think that was it. Just the last
3.
Or did they beat us? They beat us at the end of last season too.
Yeah, well, they beat us in May last year.
So then, yeah, 3 straight.
So
yeah, there's no way.
I
the Knicks have
oversold.
swept
I
us.
oversold.
I wouldn't. I don't know if I'd be here if the Knicks had beat us 8 straight times.
You might have taken. Let me stop. Yo, this is not the It Is What It Is talk show with Cameron and Mace. They be wildin'. Shout out to Cameron and Mace, though, because I aspire to be like them one day. And the amount of content that they put out that has me rolling laughing. We jumped straight into the Final Four and bracketology segment that was going to be later in the show, but it's kind of what's going on right now on TV. So now that we're past that, I wanted to talk about the World Baseball Classic. I know it was a fun tournament. There were, if you know KFC Barstool, and you saw his takes, there were some mixed opinions about this tournament, about importance of it or relevance of it, and I think the majority can disagree with him and did disagree with him. However, there are some of those people in the world that feel like this tournament is irrelevant and it's just a risk and this, that, and the third. Let me ask you, Kev, since you haven't been on the show in a while, what do you feel about the World Baseball Classic in general, what it does for the game of baseball, and do you think it is a pointless or a quote-unquote irrelevant tournament?
So, I forget when the last World Cup, when they asked Messi to sit out. You remember that one? When they asked Messi and Neymar to sit out the World Cup?
That might have been...
Because I don't remember them ever asking Messi to sit out the World Cup.
Yeah, okay. I'm like, bro. I was like 2014. I remember them both playing, and 2018. I remember them both playing. Like, I'm like, and Neymar is
like, what?
First of all, the Olympics don't have baseball no more, right? So this is the only opportunity for any of these players to wear their country on their chest, on their heads. You know what I mean? It's the only opportunity that they're gonna have. Secondly, I went to.
I
When was the one
appreciate
before
how
this?
you almost
20
tricked the fuck out of me just now. All right.
I was like,
I went to
man,
thinking,
they're
yo.
really thinking about it. No, but so 2017 was the one before this one because the last one was
Yeah.
COVID, right? So I went
Shot
to
to
the one
COVID.
in 17. Yeah, I went. What was this? I don't know. I went to a USA Dominican Republic game in Miami. I think it was either 14 or 17, whichever one it was.
It was 17. It was 17.
Okay, that was the greatest atmosphere of a sporting event that I've ever been at in my life. And I've been to I've been to NBA playoff games. I've been to UMFSU. I've been to a lot of like very good atmospheric sporting events.
Yeah.
That was the best one. And then I went this year to I went to a DR game this year. Same thing, electric. And then I went to the final with USA Japan, and same thing. Like it's just the passion from the I was walking up at the end of the game and Japanese guys crying. Like you don't see that when teams win the World Series.
Right.
So like the importance that it means to people to be able to celebrate their country and represent, and players to represent their country. And then like we can talk about it all we want, and like people like KFC can talk about it, everybody can talk about it. Ask the players, because at the end of the day, every player who's participating in it is saying that they'd rather win a World Baseball Classic than win a World Series. So to me, that tells you everything.
To me, that's
a
little crazy though. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say they're lying or not. I think that sounds pretty fucking crazy.
But at the end of the day, like it's like you ask Messi how many.
That's different. The World Cup is a way like we can't compare World Cup.
But I understand. There's only been 5 World Baseball Classics.
I understand.
So as a baseball player, you're probably taking this as your World Cup.
Fair.
If you're in the MLB, this is your World Cup.
It is, but at the same time, I'm not in MLB, so I can't speak from a professional player perspective. But in my opinion, it's like being as though it is new, being as though the best players in this tournament, most of the best players in this tournament play in the MLB. The World Cup, like the players, the best players in the world come from all different leagues and all different countries. So it's like fair. Messi in Argentina, I get it.
No, I'm not talking about soccer.
Oh, you're saying Japan. Oh,
Japan.
Yeah.
And how many MLB players do they have?
And this is their third one.
This is their third out of 5. 3 out of 5.
Yeah, 3 out of 5.
They don't have the lineup that
Japan,
DR has, Puerto Rico has, USA has. They don't have none of that.
Hey, but they got hoopers there, like the Korean baseball
Japan
league,
has
the
some
Japanese
motherfucking
baseball leagues.
ballers.
Yeah, bro. There's a serious professional leagues over there, man. Very
sure.
serious professional leagues.
So even more of a reason that look at the kid from Nicaragua comes in the game against DR, strikes out Soto, Julio Rodriguez, and Devers.
Machado, I think.
And
Was it Devers?
Yeah, Machado ripped the double off of him, but they don't. You can ignore that. But he leaves the ballpark with a contract. You know what I mean? Like to me, it's things like that. It's like it presents opportunities for you to be introduced to new players.
No, I'm not downplaying it at all. I'm not taking away from it. But what I'm trying to understand is like the World Baseball Classic. It came and went. Like that shit is already done, right? That tournament was fast, and this World Series, you got to play 162 games, and then a few playoff series.
Yeah,
and a World Series, like that shit has to be way more fulfilling, in my opinion.
According to the commission,
World Baseball Classic.
According to the commissioner of baseball, they're just playing for a piece of metal. You know what I mean? So when you're playing for the World Series, so
yeah, but not everybody has the greatest opinions on Commissioner Manfred. All right, everybody, like remember when Goodell was the most hated guy in football? Now everybody loves him, and now Goodell is like one of the best things for the NFL, and he just got renewed for like 3 years, which shout out to him. He has been doing good for the league in recent years, but hey, they're the ones saying it, so I can't argue that. But I will say shout out to that Japanese team for getting that. Shout out to the Red Sox for signing Masataka Yoshida, because he ripped that home run in the semifinal and put them ahead so they can get a chance to play in the World Baseball Classic Championship versus the United States. And then Shohei Ohtani. I mean, you want to take it away with Shohei Ohtani and his fucking greatness?
I mean, what else? He's an anomaly, like you mentioned over and over again. Like, we haven't seen a player of this caliber. We may never see in our generation another player of this caliber in the MLB. For him to do what he's been doing at the rate that he's been doing and at the efficiency that he's been doing it, playing both sides of the plate like that, I mean, and even just seeing him in his World Baseball Classic, the things that he showed us, a couple of things that we hadn't seen from him, like including that fastball slider combo, and he's just, it looks like he, just when we thought he couldn't get any better, oh man, you know?
Oh man.
He's gonna look so good in pinstripes next year.
Hey, I mean, he also might look good in that blue and white, that Dodger blue, you know, because that Dodger blue, them boys got bread. They lost Bellinger, they lost Trey.
Trey Turner.
Trey Turner, I was gonna say, and it's one other guy that they lost. So they got that buku, man. Why wouldn't he want to go just up to 405?
No.
40 minutes. 40
LA
minutes.
hasn't been kind to him.
Listen, New York ain't gonna be better for him. New York ain't gonna be better for him.
Hideki
New York
Matsui
is
won an MVP.
Listen. Hideki Matsui is one of the best role players you guys have ever had. Okay,
we have a lineage of Japanese
role player, difference. All right,
role players don't win World Series MVPs, but then
they do.
Just a piece of metal, so who cares?
They do, and they also do. Hideki Matsui being the prime example, but man, I think we end up seeing him in Dodger blue. I think my dad will be truly ecstatic. If we end up seeing him in the pinstripes, then, you know, hey, it's just one of those things that Yankees then did it again. But I can't wrap my head around the Yankees sniffing him out from LA. He's already living in LA. You know what I mean? He's already accustomed to that throw his hair back LA lifestyle. He don't want this subway shit, man. Listen, he don't want this life.
His contract is big enough that he'll be able to fly into the.
I'll say this, real quick. He did have, you saw his goal list, right? Since he wrote it down in high school, like he said in 2023 he was going to win the World Baseball Classic and be the MVP. He says that by age 27 he's going to have his second son or his first son. He don't want to raise his family here in New York City. All right. He don't want to do it.
Yeah, you saw we did Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo thought he could come over here, and then he spent a year over here and was like,
listen, each one.
I don't want to be in New York. They're mean. I don't want to play here anymore.
Each one.
Not for everybody.
Can I say this? Joey Gallo fucking sucks, okay? Let's get that straight. 2, he's a strikeout king, all right? This guy Shohei Ohtani is an anomaly, as you mentioned that I mentioned, and all that, all right? He had the fastest pitch in the World Baseball Classic, the fastest home run velocity, and I think it was like the fastest speed, something like that. So this guy does it all. Colin Cowherd, I was listening to a clip he had, and he basically said it's like Kevin's gonna like this one. It's like having Patrick Mahomes and Sauce Gardner in one player. If it was football, like that would be the comparison. And it's kind of true. I mean, he does it all. So, like, how do you go and hit a double and then score and then go and close out the game? You know what I mean? Versus Mike Trout. Top 5, whatever you want to put him, top 3 player in the game right now. And you mentioned that slider, gas. He threw 102, he threw 101, 99, 102, and like a fucking 89 slider, 87 slider. Like,
good luck.
Ain't no way.
Imagine if both of them were on the same team, how good that team would be.
Man, I could picture it, man. I can picture it, bro. No, hey, the Angels got their problem. They want to pay Anthony Rendon big money. Hey, it is what it is. So shout out to Japan though. They won and deserved the World Baseball Classic. Shout out to the manager of the Mexican national team who, when they lost to Japan, that was a great game, Mexico-Japan. Because I really wanted to see Randy Arozarena in a championship game. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the man was the MVP of the World Baseball Classic until he wasn't. But this man was balling all tournament. And he said, look, Mexico lost tonight. Japan won tonight, but the world of baseball won tonight, really. You know what I mean? Those are the true winners. And that's true. And we saw a lot of growth from the sport, I think, this year with this World Baseball Classic. I think the anticipation for opening day coming up on the 30th, which is in 7 days, is higher than probably one of them in the last 5 to 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So
now, real quick, because I was having this discussion with my dad while we were at the game. Because you see what the turnout in Miami was. It was almost 500,000 people throughout the whole tournament who attended the games. It was like 20-something games. And in 81 games, the Marlins had like 900,000.
Yo, chill.
So again, I think the World Baseball Classic, people like it a little bit more than not. But
they might like it better than the Marlins. I'll give you that. All right.
Definitely like it better than the Marlins.
All right, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
My question to you, because now you live in New York, the weather would be trash, so that's probably the only thing that'll make it never happen. But what type of numbers in Yankee Stadium would DR versus Puerto Rico do?
Oh my goodness!
Listen, I think the crime would be higher than the tickets and the attendance. Goodness. I don't think they would do it here because of like how divided it would be. And as much fun that Puerto Ricans and Dominicans have, it's like a love-hate relationship between them. But it could get bad. I think it could get ugly. And truly, like, you know, in Miami, you got the Cuban crowd that's the majority. You do have some Dominicans. You do have Puerto Ricans, obviously. But it's like, you know, you got a lot of Brazilians. You got a lot of Colombians. You got everybody, Haitians. Man, in New York, bro, that shit would be a danger zone. Like, whoever loses that game is going to be so sore by the end of the night.
Man.
I wouldn't even touch the D train. I wouldn't touch any train that runs through the Bronx. I'm not listen, but that would be dope. Like if they could find a way to cordially, they're like, yo, we're gonna do it, but we're gonna do it in City Field, okay? We're not gonna. You gotta really want to travel if you want to go, right? Like, we're not gonna do this in the Bronx, bro. Oh man. That would be fun. We'll see in what is it, 2023? We'll see. Are they doing it in 2027? I figured because of COVID year. That's awesome. We only got to wait 3 years. So cheers to that. I didn't know we'd have a good 10 minutes on World Baseball, but let's talk about the MLB. I mentioned the season's coming up. We had devastating news though today. Breaking news. Rhys Hoskins, Philadelphia Phillies all-star, tore his ACL, right? And it's a contract year. It's not a matter of if he's going to get paid next year. It's a matter of who he's going to play for next year, because he could have taken this year to really evaluate, does he really, you know, love Philadelphia? Does he want to be with these guys? And you probably imagine he does, but, you know, how horrible is it that, one, I mean, Philadelphia loses out on one of their best players before the season starts, which KFC Barstool, it happened in spring training. It didn't happen in the World Baseball Classic. So there you go. Just back to that. Nimmo. Right. Back, which was on his team, right? The Mets. So it's just interesting. I was thinking about it. I was walking to the store today on my way to pick up some beer. And I'm like, yo, like, damn, yo, it was a contract. It's a contract year for Rhys Hoskins. He had a great year last year, and Philly fans seem to love him. The organization seems to love him. I imagine they pay him or are willing to pay him regardless, based off what he did last year, based off what they know he can do for their future, and the team they have around him. But it does leave some question, like, Does he want to stay? Does he want to play for this team? Does he know if he truly wants to play for this team? Or even do they feel like, hey, we're going to just give you the contract even though you're going to miss a whole year for us? Like, what do you guys think about his future in Philadelphia being as though he just tore his ACL? E?
I mean, like you say, it's unfortunate that this happened before we even get to any, opening day into, the meat and potatoes of the season. Excuse me, sorry. Knowing the kind of organization that the Phillies are, I think they ride with him. I think they keep him. I think they give him the money. I think they extend his contract regardless. They're very loyal, and as from what I've seen anyway, I've never worked for them in a day of my life. But from what I've seen, I feel like they're a pretty loyal and committed organization. So if they say that they got you, then they got you. And if you've already proven to them, they're not just going to throw everything out based on, I don't want to call it a minor setback, but in the grand scheme of things, prayers up, hope you get back, on the field. But yeah, minor setback.
Kev?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for a team that's trying to get back to the World Series. Basically, it doesn't only affect Rhys Hoskins, it affects Bryce Harper. Because you don't have much protection in the lineup. Missing a guy like that. Schwarber's there, but Schwarber's a home run or strikeout kind of guy.
Yeah.
So, losing a guy who can hit for average, hit for power, who's going to be in the lineup with Harper, guys can, feel better about pitching around Harper and not giving Harper much to hit now. So, probably a bigger effect on the lineup as a whole than I think, people will realize at first. But I think that's the biggest impact is obviously, after Rhys Hoskins, the impact to him is Bryce Harper.
Yeah. And, like, comparatively speaking, football, basketball, you lose a guy for the season. Obviously, basketball is a grueling, long season, right? 82 games, traveling and all this. Football, it's a way shorter season, but with shorter season comes more meaningful games. Every game is like you have to win, you should win. But when you lose a guy like Rhys Hoskins, and like you mentioned, Kev, what he can do for you as far as getting hits and RBIs and hitting for average, night in, night out, that's got to really, really hurt your lineup, and it's got to give your manager a headache, right? Like, he's got to figure this out now. Maybe they're going to have to call somebody up from AAA, or they're going to have to make a trade here or there, whatever the case is, and figure out, one, this season and what they do, and two, their future. Like, again, I like E's point. I'm glad you brought up the fact that, Philadelphia is a loyal franchise, and, they do treat their guys well, and I could see them easily, offering him a fair contract for what he did last year and what he should deserve. But at the end of the day, we got to be real, right? If they see an opportunity for themselves to get better in another area, or if they see an opportunity or they get an idea that, hey, maybe we can go this route, they might have to do what's best for them. And it could leave Rhys Hoskins not necessarily out on limbo, because he's a good enough player where he'll get picked up. And it's just an ACL. We're not talking about Tommy John. We're not talking about an Achilles injury where we're not sure how he's going to come back from this. Like, these guys come back, if not better, from these ACL injuries. But definitely concerning for a team trying to return to the World Series, like Kev mentioned. Does this leave the NL East open for the Marlins? Just joking. We'll be right back. Just joking. I wanted to ask you guys about AL, NL MVPs predictions. It's listen, baseball season didn't even start. We don't have anything to go off of. I just want to know, betting purposes or just for the shits and giggles, who you guys got winning the AL MVP, who you guys got winning the NL MVP. I'm going to start with Kev.
I mean, AL MVP, I would imagine favorite's going to be Ohtani, right?
I mean, Judge has a case.
Judge definitely has a case.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, He won it last year. I think he's gonna have to if he wants to win it this year. If Otani is Otani and Judge wants to win this year, he's gonna have to break his own record. I don't think Judge can hit 50 home runs this year and win MVP if Otani is Otani.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to really like do something extraordinary. If he's himself, if Otani is himself, and in the NL, I expect the Padres to be really good. So probably a Juan Soto, Manny Machado.
Manny Machado. So I'm
definitely
glad
not giving it to Manny Machado.
I'm glad you went there. Real quick before you give me your predictions, E. Can you settle that though? Manny Machado or Soto? Who do you got? I need one.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
For argument's sake, just because of the E reaction, I'll say Machado.
So before E goes, ESPN released a top 10 MLB players going into the season. I think they had Machado at 4. I don't agree with that, but
Was
fuck that.
Soto where?
He was in there. He might have been 3 or I'll tell you right now, matter of fact.
Why don't you agree with Machado being that high though?
Machado is not a top 5 player in the league.
He's not?
He's not. He's too inconsistent. He I think look, Jeff Passan has Freddie Freeman as overrated. They're picking the most overrated guys. Buster Olney says Luis Robert is overrated. Schoenfield says Vlad Guerrero is overrated. So
Vlad's not overrated.
Is it because he's Dominican?
I mean,
Vlad's
I'm just asking.
Already good.
Vlad is nice. Vlad is one of them. I'm not gonna hold.
Listen. I'm just here to fuck around. All right.
Listen, I mean, if you're hitting 280 or better, 30 home runs, 100 RBIs, and you're a Gold Glover, I think that's consistent to me.
Yeah, for sure. But I think in key moments, you got to be that guy. And we haven't seen Machado be that guy in key moments since the start of his Dodgers career. It's been some time since then. So, and there's that. I mean, he was hurt last year for a good time. I think he had, what did he have? Was it I'm not sure what he had last year.
He played last year. It was Tatis.
No, he played, but he was hurt. There was a period he was hurt because it was Tatis and him was out for a stretch. And then he came back and
he missed 12 games last year.
Okay, so but it was a late 12 games, right?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, I think I think that's all it was. It was after the trade deadline. Like when they got Soto, he missed a few. Yeah. So I mean, listen. You say over 280, and I get that, but it's not 300.
Yeah, but he's also hitting for power.
He is a Gold Glover. I do give you that. He has great defense. We'll see. I guess we'll see. E, what do you got? Oh, by the way, before E goes, sorry. They're going Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, Aaron Judge, Manny Machado, Freddie Freeman, Juan Soto, Julio Rodriguez, Trey Turner, Mookie Betts, Nolan Arenado. That was Mookie Betts. That was Mookie Betts at 9. He said Judge and Soto. Okay.
Judge and Soto.
Okay. So, talk to me about Judge. Because I got Ohtani in the AL. I'll spoil mine now. I got Ohtani in the AL based on what I've seen from the World Baseball Classic, and I think he's in mid-season form as we speak. I don't see much slowing him down, and I don't see how he doesn't have an amazing season with the motivation he has, the championship on from the World Baseball Classic and all that. What do you got, E, for Judge?
The Yankees.
Fair point. Fair point. So
that'll probably be the only Yankees take I ever get off on the.
Let's see what this dark horse is. I wonder if you got what I'm getting. I got something that might kind of throw you guys off, but I want to hear your dark horse.
National League.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily a dark horse anymore after what he did in the World Baseball Classic. But Trey Turner is.
Okay. Okay. No, I didn't have him. I don't have him, but he's smacking shit right now.
Which
And I love
could actually provide that protection for Harper when you
he
put
can.
Hoskins out
He
the way.
definitely can. And that's what he does. I mean, he's a hitter, right? He just gets
Yeah.
hits, he gets on base, and he's also a great base runner. So it's not to say the Phillies are shit out of luck,
No,
but
yeah,
Reese
it was
Hoskins is
just
a big no. I get you. Reese Hoskins is just that big of an impact on your lineup. I think he has a bounce back year. We're not talking Trey Turner. We're talking about my NL MVP candidate. Because AL, like I said, I'm going Shohei. But I think that in order for his team to get back to the promised land, to get back to trying to win another World Series, Ronald Acuna Jr. comes out and puts his foot down and says, "No, I am him. What you guys saw a few years ago before my injury is not a fluke. It's something that I can do year in, year out. I'm only, what is he, 24 years old or so? I got Ronald Acuna Jr. winning the NL MVP. That's who I got right now, preseason. Sad to say that Fernando Tatis was not in either of our choices. And whether it's because of the PEDs, whether it's because of the injury, whether it's because of whatever the fuck.
so he's missing. How many games more does he have to?
Oh, you're right. He is going to miss a
he's
lot of
got
games.
Some
You're
games
right. You're right.
suspended. And then I just think the media doesn't even have Bonds in the Hall of Fame. Like once you get that cloud above you, it's hard
Yeah,
for them
it's hard.
get voted.
That's
in.
true. That's true.
That's fair.
Think he'll make an all-star team again? I'm kidding. But
Do I think?
No, that's a good point though. But I like Ronald Acuna to come back and show the MLB, he's him, because if he wants that respect again, shit,
What's crazy?
he's better put up some numbers.
You talked about the winning another World Series, and he wasn't even on that team though.
He was not. He was not a part of that. He was not a part of that. Freddie Freeman was definitely the guy over there at the time.
Freddie Freeman
He was hurt.
Agent.
It's like the John Morant situation. So speaking of which, we can transition. John Morant is back. He is no longer on Instagram Live toting pistols. He is dunking on people and doing one-hand switch hand layups again. He's back. So let's clap it up for John Morant. Shout out to him. I don't know how much he's learned, if he's learned. I'm sure he's learned a little bit.
I hope
he
so.
did his recovery. He started his treatment or whatever. And all jokes aside, I'm glad he's back. The NBA is better with him, and he's a young kid who made a mistake, and he's learning from it. Right? He made a mistake in front of the world, and he's learning from it. Let me ask you guys this, because the Grizzlies. The reason I brought this up, the Grizzlies are a really good team without John Morant, and we saw that last year, and we're seeing that again this year with the 8 games that he's missed. Do you guys think that this Grizzlies team right now, with the NBA in the way that it is, can win a championship this year? Yes or no?
No.
No.
Yeah, I don't either. And if the Grizzlies, as bad as this team, the Warriors been, who snapped their road losing streak finally, as bad as they've been on the road, if they play the Grizzlies round 1, I'm taking the Warriors. I'm taking Steph and the Warriors
every day of the week.
Teams that Warriors team is an experienced team that knows there's a switch. I don't know that the Grizzlies know where to locate that switch yet.
Right. This is what we're gonna get from the Grizzlies. Like what we're seeing right now is the same team, and this is like the best. This is their best right now.
They are who we thought they were.
They are. And they're a really good team. Let's not get it twisted. They are a really good team. I think they're the second seed in the West right now. Yeah, let's give it up to them.
That's what they're a top 4 team in the West, I think, year in and year out with this roster the way it's currently constructed. Yep. But I don't know who it was that said it, but they were dead on about it, is they don't have a UD in the locker room.
They don't. And Steven Adams tried to sit there and tell them, listen, when we go on the road, let's have some maturity, guys. Let's have some discipline. And that was the night that John Morant goes out on the club and
after you
goes
got
on IG
smacked
Live.
by the 1 seed in the West. So you're going on interviews and saying that there's nobody in the West that worries you, but the only team who's above you in the standings smacks the shit out of you, and then you go to the strip club, which I don't care about the strip club. I would probably be at the strip club every night if I was 23 with that kind of money also.
Yep.
But don't go on Instagram Live at all.
Hey, for the record, I was at the strip club when I was 23 with a lot less money. So
that's what I'm saying. I'm no one to judge a 23-year-old at the strip club. You know, what I mean? Like I saw a video the other day of somebody's like, he's not an alcoholic, and posted a video of like him tapping the bottle of Casamigos, and it's like, if that makes you an alcoholic, I had a serious problem when I was 23. You know what I mean?
No, that's true. And I mean, obviously everything's magnified when you're set to make $231 million. Everything's magnified when you're face of a franchise, face of a league. And hey, deservedly so. Like that's what comes with it, right? However, let's not be unrealistic and let's all understand we've all been 20, not everybody in the world, but those who are 24 now have all been 23 at one point. And you got to understand your mindset. Like I thought I knew everything at 23 years old, and there's shit that I realize now that I'm like, damn, 23, like I wasn't an idiot, but I definitely have learned a lot since 23. And I had hoped that as a 27-year-old, I've learned since I was 23. You know what I mean? That's just kind of how life goes. So we cut him some slack there, but he's back, and I think the Memphis Grizzlies are ready to go on a good and I don't want to say that, but they're going to go on a good playoff run, barring they don't see the Warriors in the first round. Speaking of, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, my bad. It's just the West, the way those teams are all lined up, they could see there's several teams I think they could see round one that they don't want to see. Even Dallas, I would with Kyrie and Luka, if both are healthy, I don't know if they make it out of that series. We see what Luka has done by himself in the playoffs.
Yep.
When the game slows down and you got to defend Luka, now you got to worry about defending Luka and Kyrie.
Yep.
So,
hey man, look, I wanted to ask you guys about the best player in the association. I want to start with E, and we'll go with Kev, and then I'll have my take. Who's the best player in the NBA right now? Sorry. Best team in the NBA.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah. Best team in the NBA. I'm like, we know who the best player is.
I'm gonna give it to the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm gonna give it to the Milwaukee Bucks for I would say a couple of reasons. One of them is that Greek freak by the name of Giannis. Don't care what kind of ball you think he plays, whether it's bully ball, whether he's just running up and down the court and throwing his muscles around. It don't matter. You know why? Because it works. All right. And the other reason is that they're flying extremely under the radar. I feel like there's a lot of other headlines that are going around in the NBA that have nothing to do with how well the Bucks are doing. Whether it's KD going to wherever, Ja going through whatever, the Knicks actually being good right now and things like that. And
shout to Sean.
And you've mentioned this before, how wide open the East is. All you gotta do is, I'm not saying it's an easy task. You're not saying it's an easy task, but all you gotta do is beat Boston. And from the looks of it, I should say, from the looks of it, all you gotta do is beat Boston. Something that you've done, So I'm gonna give it to the Bucks for them flying under the radar. I think that whenever they do fly under the radar and they're playing well, they just keep that machine going. I mean, the finals that they were in is a prime example. All the media coverage was on Devin Booker and his cars rolling up in his 64 Chevy.
Can CP3 win a finals finally?
And none of that.
Oh shit! Scott Foster's the ref tonight.
And what the Bucks said, no, none of that shit matters. Come, give me my ring.
Yeah.
So it's the Bucks. It's the Bucks.
Kev,
are we talking about like healthy or like
Who's the best team in this league right now? Listen, this is your argument. Make your case. Make your case.
So like, as far as like if you could put like that team on the court tonight, I agree with E. It's Milwaukee. However, I think when we get to the playoffs and a certain guy comes back, it's gonna be Phoenix.
I get it.
Because just even in the short time that we saw them all on the court together, that looked crazy.
For sure. 3 games. We got a good 3-game sample. Mind you, it was like Chicago, Charlotte,
but
Dallas.
But you can see the way a team moves.
For sure. The fluidity. I get it.
Defensively, I think is where people don't see just how good Phoenix can be, because when KD wants to play defense, he's one of the best defenders in the league. Okogie is a very underrated defender, and I love him starting.
He really is. He's in your shit.
I love him starting with everybody else around him, with CP3 and KD and Ayton. So I think that team is going to be really good come playoff time. When you get into the half-court defense, I think it's going to be tough to score against them. And then when you got KD and Book, and when they go out, you got Chris Paul who can facilitate. You got Ayton who can run pick and roll. It's going to be a tough team to. I think you could see Milwaukee, Phoenix again in the finals.
Very much so. Very much so. And so I didn't want to agree with either of you. I didn't know if we was all going to have the same team or not. But I'm gonna agree with E. I think Milwaukee is the best team in the league, whether you have Kevin Durant on the floor with Phoenix or not. I'll start with why I think they'd be a better team than Phoenix is there's like the continuity factor with this team in Milwaukee, and they've been together for some time now. Obviously, Kevin Durant is one of those players you can plug in and he's gonna shine wherever, right? Like he's gonna make that team better, and it's gonna kind of look like the transition was as smooth as ever. He did it in Golden State. He did it in Brooklyn. He did it with new players on OKC. And for the sample size, 3 games, he's done it in Phoenix. So I'm not going to act like he's not, and I'm not going to act like Phoenix doesn't have a very threatening team to this league. But I love E's point on the under the radarness with the Bucks here. Like all the storylines going around in the NBA, and I mean the Bucks going on a 15-game win streak was just like back news. Who cared about that, right? Like, bro, 15-game win streak. Like the Knicks went on a 9-game win streak, 9-game win streak.
We're losing our minds.
And it's like, and I understand it's the Knicks. Like there's context to it. I get it. But like the 15-game win streak, and Chris Middleton wasn't really doing much or help. I don't want to just speak uneducatedly, but he was hurt for a lot of those games, if not most of them. But the Bucks have been able to do this with and without Chris Middleton. They're only better when he's there as well. They're just as good when he's not. Giannis is averaging. He just scored 31 against the worst defense in the league with the Spurs, but he sat out the whole fourth quarter. And to me, like with Giannis's growth, going back to East Point, as far as whether you want to call it bully ball, whether you want to call it putting his shoulder, listen, Giannis doesn't do that. All right, he can, he has the bag, he knows how to play bully ball, but he's a complete player, and he's shown that. He's not the knockdown 3-point shooter. He's not a setup, spot up shooter. Okay, great. Can he make threes? Of course. Can he hit the free throws? Yes. Can he hit the mid-range jumper? Can he hit the pull-up mid-range? Can he drive to the lane? Can he hit a hook? Can he hit a floater? Can he dunk on you? Can he dominate you defensively? He can do it all. And can he pass the ball? He's looking like LeBron James or something of that nature. Listen, Kev, this season, the passes are going crazy. This man has court vision. He has the court vision, and I've watched it. And obviously, the magic, influence LeBron has and the magician he is on the court. And, we're not going to compare him to the point of like to a T. But Giannis Antetokounmpo is starting to get that feel for the game that LeBron has, where he understands as soon as somebody comes off of there, man, I'm going to bait him in just enough, boom, and I'm going to get that ball off, boom, and I'm going to make the right pass.
Throw it at James Harden's head.
And I'm going to get it back. But listen, that was 3 years ago. All right, now. But, man, I mean, when you have the best player in the game, it's easier to have the best team. And the only other thing I'll argue against the Phoenix Suns is the continuity aspect of it. Like the Bucks have done this for year in, year out now. And the Suns, no matter how good they've looked in the sample size, 3 games, I'll say, you still have kinks to figure out. You're still going to run into shit. And when the playoffs come, it's a whole different ball game. Like you guys can feel as comfortable as you want running through these teams, with the 32 minutes you guys are playing right now, this, that, and the third. Oh, it looks nice. When it's a back-to-back possession game and there's trouble and there's pressure and who's going to score, who's going to get the ball, who's going to – listen, the Bucks already know what they got to do. The Suns are trying to still figure things out. So I give the nod to the Bucks there.
The Suns have also –
with respect that the Suns, I'm not saying that, but they have a new guy. But they have a new guy.
The Warriors won a championship, brought in KD,
but
and
they
would have won 3 if he didn't tear his Achilles.
Now the Warriors won without KD.
Yeah,
the Suns lost without KD,
but
and that's a big difference.
A far different team with KD.
Better team, right?
Right.
And without KD, they were a far better team than the Suns
team. They were a really good team, yeah. But that's what I'm saying is the Suns were 2 wins away. KD
fuck that. They didn't win.
KD can get you 2 wins.
But the Warriors won, and they beat LeBron without KD. Without Kyrie, I'll give you that. No Kyrie, but they beat LeBron.
KD can get you 2 wins.
That's fair. But they won without KD. The Suns haven't won without KD. Sure, and I can't say we will. I can't say that they'll just beat the Bucks because KD's there now. LeBron James should have beat the Dallas Mavericks in 2011, Kevin. We're both Heat fans, let's be honest.
Well, that was a very different LeBron James, though.
That's a fair point.
That's
a very fair point. But the point of the team just got together, and LeBron came into the season and had a whole offseason. He had a whole preseason and a whole regular season. KD's coming into this having an injury-riddled regular season with one team and a second half where he's only been able to play 3 out of 10 to 11 games with his new team. It's tough to just jump into a playoff series and go crazy. Not for KD. Not for KD, though. I'll give you that. KD could jump into a playoff series.
Like if LeBron was – same situation, replace KD with LeBron. We're like not even question. Like LeBron could miss the same amount of games, and you plug him in the playoffs, and you're like, that team's got a chance to win it all because
LeBron's a better player.
Overall, yes. Right now, I don't know that.
Overall and right now, I'm still giving the nod to LeBron. We've seen this season and how it's gone. I mean, that's another argument for another day, but. And I respect your point, but I have to disagree. I think, you put Giannis on KD, let everybody else beat you. And if they can, they can. No, if they can, they can. Because Chris Middleton can beat you.
Because Book
Chris Middleton beat the Suns as well.
I don't think this Chris Middleton currently is that.
That's
Chris
fair.
Middleton.
That's fair.
Also,
I don't think this Chris Paul is that Chris Paul either.
No, but the addition of KD has made Booker look better than he's ever looked.
You put Giannis there, and it's just like as good as you are, Giannis is better.
That's fine. He's only got 1 ring to show for it.
Like you said, we're gonna revisit this in June. I like this debate here. So let's move on though. Let's talk about another great team in the league, who's arguably the second best team in the league, Boston Celtics. Right? Their future is questionable as far as the duo, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. recently we saw Jaylen Brown in an interview, and he sat down and spoke about the future of him and the Celtics and how he felt around the trade deadline when KD's name came up. And obviously Jason Tatum and KD are workout partners, good friends off the court. And so basically I'm going to go through the quotes from the interview, and I want to talk about them with you guys and get your ideas and thoughts and opinions and all that. So as far as Jaylen Brown's future with the Celtics, he said, quote, "I don't know. As long as I'm needed, it's not up to me. We'll see how they feel about me over time, and I feel about them over time. Hopefully, whatever it is makes sense, but I'll stay where I'm wanted. I'll stay where I'm needed and treated correct. Katie and JT are friends. They were working out together and whatnot, so I wasn't sure what the energy was." He's talking about from that trade deadline time. "I wasn't sure what the direction of the organization was." Then he goes on to mention that Brad Stevens assured him that he wasn't being traded, but when his name resurfaced in the KD rumors again this January, it left him on edge. So he goes, quote, "It's hard coming into teams and organizations and being warm. They operate on different principles, I think, and this is an organization. They look at it as a business where they'll tell you one thing and behind closed doors they'll say another, and they'll trade you off. Like where I'm from in the South, if you don't come through the front door, it's disrespectful because it's considered disrespectful. I feel like on a lot of teams, excuse me, when you deal in these corporate spaces, everybody wants to come through the back door or come through an angle. So obviously, it's just an interview. Jaylen Brown's just keeping it real. I don't want to take too much from it and say like, oh my God, Jaylen Brown, like this is just a man being transparent in how he feels about a situation. And I appreciate the fact that he was as transparent. Kev, you look like you're ready to just bite. What you got?
Well, so is Jaylen Brown all NBA this year?
This year? No, I don't think so.
No, then he's gone.
Oh.
Then he's gone.
Do you think so?
I don't know. But if he's all NBA,
I'm not saying it's like no way.
I'm asking.
Oh, as far as contractually?
Right.
Contractually,
if he can get the Supermax this year, he's signing the extension and no questions. You don't turn that down. You don't.
That's if they offer it to him.
Well, then if they don't offer it to him, he's gone. So
yeah,
we're gonna find out a lot.
Either way.
But if he doesn't make All NBA, I don't think you make these comments when you're the 2 seed and you've arguably been the best team in the league all year. Because okay, I get the vagueness of I'll go wherever I'm wanted if I'm wanted here, but then to go into JT and KD are friends and they work out together and this and that, that's like Aaron out in house.
That's facts.
So
that's facts.
And when you're in the midst of trying to win a championship and you're at the point where you've been the best team all year up until maybe a few weeks ago where you've hit maybe this is the reason, you know what I mean? Maybe this is the reason that it's kind of been rocky for Boston. Maybe the chemistry is not there anymore because of the trade rumors coming up. I don't know what it is, but
and I think that's not saying that that's what you're saying, but I think that would be a weak excuse if that's the reason that confidence is shaken or chemistry has gone down.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But I get what you're saying.
At the end of the day, you're all trying to win a championship. It's all one common goal in mind. So to let that, you're still on the team at the end of the day. To let that come in between you and your end goal is, it's petty. But these are like they made those comments the other day where I don't want to rebuild. Like they're falling out the race. Boston's very much in the race. So to come out and make these comments at this point is
I just think it's a very Jaylen Brown thing to do, to be honest. I think that's who he is. He's part of the NBA PA, you know what I'm saying? And he's a voice in the league. He was very loud as far as the Kyrie he had a conversation about the Kyrie Irving situation as well, and he felt that was really unfair and against NBA PA rules and stuff. So I think it's who he is.
Him and Kyrie are close too.
They are, and I think it's mostly who he is as a person. But I understand, if you're the second seed in the West, in the East, and you things are going good, you know, you don't want to kind of bring this upon you guys, but at the same time, hey, I mean, listen, if the Celtics were to trade him, there wouldn't be a conversation, right? So I think, hey, if you want to say what you got to say, get it off your chest, bro. E, what you feeling about these Jaylen Brown comments?
I don't think they're that serious. I get what you're saying, Kev, but at the same time, I mean, kind of like what Drew was saying, he was just keeping it real. At the end of the day, we play for an organization in the league that at the end that is a business when it's all said and done. So I think that we're seeing this a lot more in sports in general, where players aren't, I guess the proverbial dick riding their organizations and their teams they play for anymore. It's like, look, I'm here to do a job. I know what I bring to the table, and I'll do that job here. And I want to do that job here as long as I can. If the cards fall where I'm no longer able to do that job here, then I'm open to doing that job elsewhere. But at the end of the day, I got a God-given talent.
I'm cool with all that.
Proverbial dick riding is crazy.
I'm cool with everything that you just said, E. Where he fucked up is bringing Tatum into it.
It's a little hate. It's a little hate going on.
That's the petty part of it. And it's like if I'm Tatum, I'm like, why am I even bringing?
He's like, they are best friends.
Yeah, right. That's his best friend. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that part of it to me was the part that spoke louder than every part of it. Was
I hear
you. All that other stuff is almost him being just like non-committal. I'm here if they want me. That's like the PR type answer. You know what I mean? I'm here as long as they want me to be here. Da 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 da. Same thing Kyrie told them, and then he left the year after. So. That's probably the other reason that it's
Kyrie said, I will be here.
Yes.
And he left the year after.
Kyrie said he wanted to see his name in the rafters.
Right. Kyrie was just...
He was like, oh, no, I didn't mean these rafters. I meant somewhere else.
I meant elsewhere in those rafters.
Anywhere else. So, no, I feel that. And I'm not going to piggyback too much off what you guys said, but I just know that what we have gotten from Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum has been fun. I appreciate watching them play basketball. As a Heat fan, it's good for me because it's like it's a beatable team. It's a beatable tandem. We don't want it to get crazier. You know what I mean? We don't want to see KD and Jason Tatum play together. Like, get the fuck out of here. All right, if you guys play together, Jason Tatum needs to get traded for Devin Booker and go to Phoenix. Okay, like no. But yeah, I mean, I get him, and to E's point, like, he's not gonna just sit here and just blah, blah. No, he's gonna say what he feels. So, I do like the point that Kev made, though. I wish we got to do. Listen, this is just a side note. We're gonna start a show, which is gonna be whenever the fuck. But we're gonna do like around the horn, bro. I'm starting giving you guys points. I'm gonna be Tony, bro. Like, yeah, bing, bing. Kev's point, bing, bing, bing. I like the fact that you mentioned the All NBA thing because that has a lot to do with it. I think that contract and what they can offer him will have a lot to do with it. Of course, he's gonna sign if he's an All NBA player. Of course,
he's offered it, and if he's not offered it, he's saying trade me to somebody who's going to sign me to an extension to this offseason.
Exactly. So, all right, let me just shift gears here. Let's talk about possible playoff matchups. Right now, if the NBA started, the play-in starts on April 11th. Playoffs start April 15th. Shout out to April. April is the best month of the year. I'm not sure if you guys were aware. Just wanted to let you know. Right now, if the season ended today, we would have a 9-10 play-in matchup on the West Coast of Dallas versus LA Lakers and a 7-8 matchup with Minnesota and OKC. On the East side, we would have a play-in matchup, 9-10, Toronto, Chicago, which nobody would care to watch, and a 7-8 matchup, Brooklyn versus Atlanta, which nobody would probably care to watch either. Now, obviously the Western Conference is super close in the standings, right? Like, I'm not sure if any of you guys can bring that up real quick. I don't have it, but
yeah,
I know that like up until the 11th seed, 12th seed, it's like all within like 8 to 11 or so is like within 3 games or so.
So the 4 seed through the 4 through 12 are separated by 3 games total.
4. It's crazy.
Yeah, which is Phoenix. The Sacramento Kings currently have the 3 seed on lock.
And if things ended right now, their season would end in the first round playing the Warriors. I'll tell you that. Warriors will be the best road team. They'll go from worst to first.
That's hilarious.
Nah, but he will tell you I was heavy on Sacramento is not going to hold on to a top 4 seed in the Western Conference, and I've completely 180'd, and I believe that it's theirs to lose. And they've played like a top 3 seed in the Western Conference all season. So,
and I'm not saying he is, but De'Aaron Fox should get more love when it comes to the MVP conversation.
Fair, but he's gonna win the Clutch Award, so
sure.
at least he'll get some sort of hardware.
Oh yeah, that'll mean something.
Yo, EP, shout out to your boy in the background. What's this? We at this undisclosed location. Real quick, let's cut into that. We at this undisclosed location. EP, you shooting a video soon. When you shooting this video? Can you give us any details on this new music video you got?
This Sunday, there's a single. Damn, I guess I need artwork for this single now too. Oh god, there's so much to do, man. There's so much to do. I'm getting back in the action of everything. But yeah, this is a single I got with my man PVT Nate, Private Nate. It's just pretty gas. Stay tuned. We're shooting the video here at this undisclosed location. Apparently, shout out to my man J Rock in the back. It's his studio. We live in East Fort Lauderdale. I'll say. You know what I'm saying? So
nothing crazy. Nothing
you know
crazy.
What I'm saying?
Shout out to J Rock. Shout out to PVT Nate. Let me ask you this: Small Town EP, the artist, not the co-producer, not the co-host of the All Things Sports podcast. I want to ask the artist. When are we gonna get a single without a feature?
Very soon.
And what about and let me just, this is one of those double questions. You can answer them both. Remember that track you was working on, and I believe we was watching. Were we working on this verse? Was it a year ago? Duke,
it was
North Carolina.
It was a minute ago.
Is there anything? Did that? What's going on? Go. Double question. Go ahead.
that record. Yeah, that record. I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. It's there somewhere. It's in my archives. It has to be worked on.
Okay.
It has to be finished. As far as the single with no feature, right after this single, actually, I got it lined up. I got the visuals ready. I got everything lined up. So we're gonna be ATS, small town. We all taking over the rest of the year.
Yes, sir. Up is up.
All year for life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, now back to the playoffs. I'm not sure if any of you guys had anything to say. I just want to talk about the potential play-in matchup right now. We got, if we see Kyrie Irving versus LeBron James, possibly. I'm not sure if LeBron will be back for the play-in, but it's possible we get a Lakers Mavericks play-in. Because this is a one-game thing. Can we see the Lakers beating and eliminating Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving from the play-in and playoff opportunity?
I could see it. I could see LeBron doing anything.
It's LeBron.
If LeBron doesn't play, do you think they can still beat him?
No.
You don't think?
But I mean, if you ask Jay Williams,
mayonnaise Mamba.
If you ask Jay Williams, LeBron shouldn't come back because how's Austin Reeves gonna get his 35 a night?
Listen, that take, I'm not gonna lie. I love KJM podcast. I was listening this morning and I was like, I had my AirPods in. I hit one of those like, hold on, what? Did he just question if and when LeBron should come back?
Yeah, because he got Austin Reeves, obviously. That's like you know what it reminded me of? Do you remember when Melo was out and Jeremy Lin was going off and people were like, well, I don't know if Melo should come back. What are we doing?
Hey, shout out to Martin Dunn. Shout out to Martin Dunn. Go check out his music on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Music, wherever you get your music at. Martin Dunn, the artist. He's out of Lauderdale Lakes, Florida. Shout out to Broward County. He's in the comments talking about best podcast in the world. And Martin is one of the more selfless people that I know. and I don't say the most because I know a bunch of selfless people. There's a lot of people on Instagram and Twitter nowadays that always talk about, negative friendships and fake people in their life and all this. I'll say this: I've been blessed to meet a number of selfless people in this world, and a lot of them that I can consider a good, true friend of mine. You're looking at two of them right here, EP, Kevin. Appreciate you guys the most. But Martin is definitely on the list of selfless people. Shout to Nate Perk. He gets on that list. Martin has a podcast, by the way, so you can listen to him with his rapping, his music, and you can also listen to him on the Longer Than a Decade podcast, wherever you get your podcasts at. He's also on YouTube, LTD Pod. And he just went in my comments and said, we got the best podcast in Broward. So, to do that, it's a class act. So, shout out to Martin Dunn. Appreciate you. Love you, bro. I kind of got thrown off because I was reading that comment. I don't know if we were still talking about Austin Reeves or what.
We don't have to talk about. Don't worry.
We don't,
talk
right?
About Austin Reeves no more.
Right.
We've spent enough time on
Is there a playoff matchup in the first round that you're – because we didn't even talk about the East Coast yet too much. Is there a playoff matchup, East or West, that you would really, really like to see? Can we start with Kev?
Selfishly, I'd like to see Miami, Philly, because I think Miami can beat Philly. In a 7-game series.
That's what we got right now. If the season finished today.
Yep. I also if Jimmy's playing the way he's been playing,
he will.
I think come playoff time, it's hard to beat. Nobody wants to play Miami when Jimmy's playing that way. So I think Cleveland will be a tough. I think Miami will be a tough out for. I think. Realistically, as long as Miami doesn't see Boston or Milwaukee in the first round, I think it's a very
we have a very fair chance to win the series. Yep. I don't think this Heat team is a first round exit. I'll say that. What playoff series you looking for first round?
I'm gonna say I'm actually gonna agree with Kev only because I'm low key, very low key a Sixers not liker at all.
You can say, listen, I'll say this. Let me cut you off.
Not like her.
No. Hold on. I moved to New York City, right? I moved here September 29th, right? So I've been here going on 6 months. It's been almost half a year now. Time has flew by. I miss you guys dearly. I wish I was in Broward at times. I wish I could just kind of light one up, vibe with you boys, and drink a beer. But then I think the trade-off. I do love being here. And I tell you all the time, I love being here. One thing I have learned, I don't know if this is a good or bad thing. It's probably a bad thing. I'm not going to bring this back home when it's all said and done. I won't bring this back home. It's more of an up north New York City thing. It's okay to be a hater, E. All right? It's okay. It's the name of the game. That's how you do it, all right? So you are a Sixers, let's say it, hater. And I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it.
Because Philly's trash.
Hey,
I just don't think they have it in them.
All right, the city of Philly, I cannot say the city of Philly's trash.
I don't think that it's good for, how we say it's good for a certain insert sport here, for insert team here to be winning, It's not really good for the sport of the NBA for the Sixers to be winning. It doesn't really do anything for the NBA. So
it doesn't necessarily happen.
It's not good for any Philadelphia team. It's not good for any Philadelphia team to win a championship. They got guys climbing up poles.
Wow.
Let them
listen. As far as I'm concerned, I was born in the state of Pennsylvania. I cannot do this. All right, I cannot just stand for this. And listen, I'm not. I fuck the Sixers. All right, we'll set the record straight. All right, I support the Eagles. My sister's an Eagles fan. She grew up an Eagles fan. I got family in Philadelphia. I can't go. It's a tightrope. You know what I'm saying? I just after I just said it's okay to be a hater. I understand. But I'll be the boss of who the fuck we're hating on my show, all right?
You can't hate on Philly, but I got no ties. So
go ahead, Kev. I'll give you permission.
No, that was it.
I ain't say
it. It's the greased poles for me.
Greased poles. Look, I'll go. I look at the Western Conference, and I think we're gonna have a lot of intriguing series. whether whether the Mavericks win and they got to play Denver first round. I think that'll be a good series. I think if Minnesota has to play Memphis, that's a good series to me. But the series I'm really intrigued to see, if it all stands, is New York and Cleveland. Because New York has said for the last 2 months, like, bring me Cleveland. We're not scared of Cleveland. And I see tweets that's like, oh, anonymous representative from Cleveland says they don't want to play the Knicks in the first round. Like, get the fuck out of here, okay? Okay? One is clearly the better team. And yes, I understand it's a 4-5 right now, but Cleveland is definitely a better team than the New York Knicks. I have a lot of Knicks friends that are fans. Doesn't even sound right saying it, Jesus. But I think this series, right? I think this series can definitely go 7. I'm not saying the Knicks can't win this series. I'm not saying the Knicks won't compete in this series, but I think the Knicks think that they'll 4-2-3-1 this series, 4-1 this series, and that's no way the case. I think if anything, they might get gentlemen swept, 4-2, or taken to a game 7 and loss. So I'm intrigued to see a Cleveland New York Knicks series. That'll be interesting for me. So you guys got anything else on the NBA and the playoffs coming up?
That Donovan Mitchell will make the Knicks wish that they did make that trade. If we see that matchup.
That's true.
Because playoff Donovan is
Donovan Mitchell points game 1 if that series happens.
That's hilarious. What I will say about New York and trades and not regretting, the Jets. All right, the Jets. We're here, Kev. We're here. The New York Jets are going to and will not regret trading for Aaron Rodgers this offseason. They got to get number 12 back into number 8 because number 12 is Broadway Joe. And number 8 is Aaron Rodgers at Cal. If we all remember, he wore number 8 in college before we really knew who he was. Whatever number he does wear for the Jets, when he plays for this Jets team, it's going to be fun. This defense is set. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the number 8 just opened up. So,
and that's why I bring it up. You guys made a big trade. So, and I think you guys made that trade to acquire some picks to ship those off maybe. But Aaron Rodgers is a Jet. It hasn't happened yet. The breaking news report, Schefter, Tom Pelissero, whatever you want to call it, Ian Rappaport, nobody reported it yet. But it's as good as done. You guys are clearly making the moves for it to go. As I just mentioned, you traded Elijah Moore to Cleveland. Can you go into those details there? What you guys trade? Because as a Jets fan, I'm sure you remember off the top of your head. I don't. I'm not a Jets fan.
Yeah, it's Elijah Moore and a 3rd round pick, which I believe is 70. Is somewhere in the 70s.
4 or 6, something like that, right?
For the 42nd round pick. Or 2nd round pick, 42nd overall.
How much?
Yeah.
Who are they gonna pick? You ever watched Key and Peele where they're like, Gonquavius Canavius? Who they gonna pick? Nah. So, all right. Let me ask you this though: do you think that was to acquire picks so that you guys have more capital to trade to Green Bay?
So, from what I've seen, based on beat writers who are in, talk to people within the organization, that move had nothing to do with picks to send to Green Bay. They are looking to add another receiver, whether that be Odell Beckham, who Rodgers wants to play with, or I've also heard DeAndre Hopkins. I don't think that can even happen, though. So I think Odell's a more realistic option if they are looking to add another receiver. But they did just add Mecole Hardman. So I don't know. I want it all to be over, and I just want to see what the roster looks like.
Right. You just want September to get here.
Right, yeah. They're also talking about Zeke, but apparently
you don't want Zeke, bro. No one wants Zeke. Relax.
Our goal line, we had nobody to run the ball from the 1 last year. So,
but you also didn't have Breece Hall, so
Yeah, but Brees isn't really a pounded type back,
He's
and I don't want
not,
him in
but
those
he can.
scenarios
Okay, that's
coming off a
different.
torn
See, and
ACL.
now, okay, so let's backtrack here. So you signed Mecole Hardman, right? Great deal, 1 year deal, and I think it's smart. You get some speed. This is as close to Tyreek Hill speed as you're going to get, and he's already been in the league and been played for a Super Bowl. He's a two-time Super Bowl champion, or is he? Did he win the first one with the Chiefs?
I don't know,
Was
but
he in the league?
he didn't even play in.
Mecole was there.
He was
Yeah.
hurt, so he didn't even play in this.
He was there, right? That's fair, but he's a two-time Super Bowl champion. He definitely
He
contributed
is.
Yeah.
for this Chiefs team, right? So
Yeah,
you're getting a two-time Super Bowl champion, who's about 4 years in, coming into like his fourth year in the league or so. You mentioned Odell Beckham is an option. DeAndre Hopkins is a possibility. Odell makes way more sense in my opinion because he's a free agent. You don't have to trade capital for him. He's also, I mean, he's coming off that ACL. DeAndre Hopkins is a great receiver. I'm not going to question that, and I think DeAndre Hopkins would be a great get for you guys. But you also have a guy like Garrett Wilson who does what DeAndre Hopkins can do, and Odell Beckham can play in the middle. He can play outside, and he's a little more shifty in a role where, granted, if I saw him playing with Aaron Rodgers, that looks like a match made in heaven, if you ask me. Now, the Zeke Elliott thing, it doesn't not make sense, but it doesn't make total sense. Breece Hall put out a tweet saying we're good, right? Like, we're good over here, we're good. But I get your point, right? You don't have that guy to pound it at the goal line. And if Ezekiel Elliott, who wants his number 15 back, which number 15 opened up because Mike White's in Miami now. I just thought about that. If he understands his role coming into a Jet scenario where we got our premier back, we've got our 3-down back, we've got our guy whenever we want to call his number, he's going to be our Tony Pollard, all right? But when we need you, we need you. If he can be that for you guys, I think it's a really good fit. Zeke was that this year for the Cowboys, and we saw a lot of unselfish play from Zeke. Whenever his number was called, he went out there, played hard, and helped the Cowboys and led them to a playoff win. You know what I'm saying? Versus Brady on the road. Like, let's give the Cowboys credit for that. And Zeke Elliott, as big or small of a part of that, he was a part of that.
Yeah. And also with Zeke, from what I saw, is the three teams are Eagles, Jets, Bengals. The Eagles haven't even reached out to Zeke, so people are assuming now that this is just a wish list of Zeke's and not even like a real possibility. I could see the Jets getting in on it for those reasons I said, with just having somebody to pound the football. But the Eagles could make sense also if they do end up reaching out. But and then obviously if he chooses the Bengals, they obviously already have their premier running back. And Zeke would basically just be taking Samaje Perine's role. So
yeah, exactly.
So I think Zeke knows at this point he's not a feature back or a premier back in the league anymore. So I think the expectation of his role is tempered a little bit because of that. And like you said, he seemed to play well last year in a more limited role than he's used to, and didn't seem to cause an uproar or anything like that for the Cowboys. So, and it also could provide some depth at center. So,
but it's a good point. It's a good point we make though that it's a good point we make that Zeke could have been the drama queen and could have argued about he didn't get as big of a role, this, that, and the third. No, I mean, he's just put his head down and he's wanted the ball. Hey, shout out to whoever's in the chat, Superstar Props. Shout out to you. We watching, we listening. He said, PA in the house. Watch your mouth about the Sixers. Joel Embiid is the MVP. I'm fucking with that energy. I'm not going to lie. I can't hate on that.
I do have Embiid as the MVP, but that's all Philly is going to win this year.
That's all they got, right? Jeez. Yo, E, close us out with any thoughts on the Jets and their new acquirees that they haven't gotten, but we're just talking, like they got, like the Jets still got Zach Wilson as a starting quarterback. Let's be real, but
Hey,
it's obvious that Aaron Rodgers is going to come back and play for the Jets, and they'll make some more signings to bolster up this roster. What do you got?
if the Jets, real quick before E goes, if the Jets sign Odell before the Rodgers trade gets done, I think they'd rather have Odell ahead of Zach Wilson on the QB chart.
I think I would
ahead,
as
E.
well if I
Go
was
ahead, E.
a Jets fan.
I'm sorry, Zach. You got to show me something though.
Wow. I mean,
Zach, sorry, E. And I'm sorry. I'm more sorry to E for cutting him off, like me and you were cutting him off. But no, Zach Wilson don't have to show you guys anything else. Okay, there is a clip on Twitter with like a 1.5-minute montage of Zach Wilson and the questionable picks that he's thrown and plays that he's made. E, I present you. What can this Jets team do?
I don't know. Come in second place. Maybe you get a wild card spot this year. I don't know.
Second place in the AFC or the AFC East?
The AFC East.
Behind who?
I mean,
who?
we'll say Buffalo. I can say Miami if you really want me to take it there, but
Did you say third place?
You like Buffalo over the Jets as currently constructed with if Aaron Rodgers is their quarterback?
see, you're saying if. You're saying currently constructed, but then
Yes.
you're saying if. You know?
Yes is
No,
my
but-
answer.
Okay, but because
I would say yes.
we've all
We're talking about. No, I was gonna say something. I can't say that. But yes,
so both of you like Buffalo over the Jets.
Oh, for sure. Maybe not Miami. I might be talking shit about Miami. That might be a reach, but
I'm not worried
definitely
about
Buffalo.
I'm not worried about Judo Boy in Miami.
You better be worried about that boy in Buffalo, up top and upstate.
Listen, I mean, I think that team is falling apart too. Stephon Diggs was talking about how he was not happy there last year. There's a lot going on in Buffalo.
can I say
that,
something? Can I
yeah,
say
go ahead.
something?
You can always say something.
If DeAndre Hopkins gets traded to Buffalo,
Okay, that's a different. But as currently constructed,
fair. But as currently constructed, you guys
Y'all
got
don't
Zach
Aaron
Wilson as your
Rodgers.
quarterback.
that's a formality though. That's a formality.
Yo, eat that me up. Eat that me up. Eat.
Hey, all I know is the Packers got to make that trade before Aaron Rodgers gets back on McAfee.
That's funny.
Yo, that's funny. Yo. All right, look, man.
Every time Rodgers gets back on McAfee, the Packers lose more leverage.
What we can say is that if you remember, Kev, you was there last year when we were talking about the best division in football. We thought it would be the AFC West, and we thought that this had the best quarterbacks. We thought that this division was going to be stacked, which on paper it was.
Super Bowl champion came
Now-
out of that division.
Fair. One playoff team came out of that division.
Two.
This-
The Chargers.
You're right. The Chargers. We quickly forgot about them losing to the Jaguars. Right. Now, what we can say is that this might be the division that's best in the NFL coming into this year, barring any setbacks on this Aaron Rodgers trade. So I'm excited to see that. Right. So
Yeah.
I think that's it for the NFL. We've covered on NBA, NCAA, MLB. It obviously only leaves us with EP's EPL segment. Kev, I don't know if you noticed, man. We started this thing, man. Not even we. This is a he, not a me thing.
Hey.
EP's EPL segment. Every show, you guys are going to get your little fix for that English Premier League. And obviously, any other little soccer news that EP wants to go on a limb out and talk about. What you got for us, E?
There's not much club play this week because we got European and World Cup qualifiers for the next about week and a half now. So that's pretty exciting. I know France and Netherlands play tomorrow, so that should be a good game.
Didn't England play today?
Yes, England did play
Italy?
today. England, Italy. 2-1.
What happened in that game? There was some big news, right?
Harry Kane, all-time scorer for England. He has to pass
let's
Wayne
give it up.
Rooney.
Let's give it up.
54
Listen,
goals.
Wayne Rooney is a fucking
yeah,
legend.
I wasn't soccer hip when Ray Rooney was running up and down the pitch, as they call it. But
I was more hit back then. I'll say
but
that.
I do remember hearing his name like in every
Quite a
highlight.
ton?
Yeah,
Quite a ton.
quite a bit in it.
In
The
it.
impressive thing about this is that he did it in 39 less games than Wayne Rooney
No,
did.
no. The more impressive thing is that he did it on a penalty kick, the same type of kick that he missed in the World Cup that could have won him a game.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
I don't,
But hey,
I don't
man,
normally interject in the EP's EPL segment this much, but go ahead.
all-time leading scorer, English history. He's doing wonders for that Tottenham team right now. That is,
I have a cookie for that.
that is trying to turn it around in the Premier League right now. Or not turning around, but stay afloat in the Champions League. Bayern Munich. I got a report this morning on my phone that said Julian Nagelsmann, Bayern Munich's German powerhouse's head coach, his job was in jeopardy. An hour later, I get a notification that says Bayern Munich has fired Julian Nagelsmann and has hired Thomas Tuchel, former Chelsea head coach who just got sacked, as they say, in September, right before you moved up to New York, actually, if I'm not mistaken.
Sacked? Is that fired?
That is fired.
Sacked?
There was a lot.
You got to bring that term across the pond. Man,
A lot of
Nathaniel Hackett sacked.
There was a lot of controversy in that Bayern Munich locker room, man. Nagelsmann was saying that there was a mole on the squad that was releasing play plans. And
Wait. Is that the term they use in England? A mole?
A mole,
not a
not
leech?
a rat.
It's a
or
mole,
leech.
not a rat.
It's a mole that was leaking like plays and stuff because apparently some plays were posted.
I'll have another bite of cookie for that.
Apparently some plays were posted in a Sports Weekly magazine. So he was kind of an upper age, was losing the locker room. He's out of there. Tuchel's in. We know that the success that Tuchel's had, winning Champions League in Chelsea, led PSG a couple years ago to a French League One title, led Dortmund to some success previously. So definitely happy that he's back. And the news of the day, outside of Harry Kane being the all-time leading scorer, is that the UEFA, the Union for European Football Association, is launching a probe into Barcelona paying a man by the name of Jose Maria Enriquez Negreira 7 million euros. Now you might be wondering, between the years of 2001 and 2018, you might be wondering who this guy is. He is a former He's a former vice president.
Can you give us the name again?
Jose Maria
from Sweet Life of
Enriquez
Zack and Cody?
Negreira. I don't think so. I never watched the show, so I wasn't really a big Disney fan like that.
Nah, I think that guy's related to Ken Francis.
But if you're wondering who he
picture,
is,
Kev?
no, I can't do that. If you're wondering who he
Kev
is,
got us.
oh my goodness. Yo, EP's EPL talk is done, bro. EP's EPL talk is done. The pod is done. We're wrapping this up.
Yo, shout out to you if you listen in, man. Shout out to you if you comment, tapped in, man. Follow us on Instagram at ATS Pod Official. Follow us on Twitter at ATS Pod. Kev, we appreciate you. EP as always.